Hey everybody, I am down here in our Bible nook in Crossroads Kids, where we've got a few different kinds of Bibles. I got mine right here, but we also have an action Bible and some paperback Bibles, a picture Bible, some different things. But this big gray one right here, it's really neat. It's from the Bible Project, the YouTube channel, where they draw outlines of the books of the Bible, and it's really neat. And then they give a text description of that outline as well. So anytime you're down here, be sure, we put this right here, so be sure to check out this, flip through it, love it, it's awesome. So let's jump into it. My favorite New Testament book, this is going to sound strange, it is more than just food and fun. Now, what do I mean by that, okay? When I was a child growing up in church, we had these potlucks all the time. And I heard the word fellowship quite a lot. And in my kid eyes, it seemed to mean Christians getting together with food. Well, why not? Potluck, anything and everything you could want. But I love that potluck aspect of it. Adults would go off and talk about stuff, who knows what, while they ate. And the kids, well, we would try to find something fun to do. We would try not get into trouble, but we would also be sneaking as many cookies and desserts and brownies from the tables as we could, right? Who wouldn't do that? Now, there's nothing wrong with Christians getting together to eat, chat, and or play. We even have small groups built around eating together. But this is actually far from the fellowship that occupies Philippians as its major theme. Okay, so major theme of Philippians is fellowship. Well, in fact, Paul's vision of fellowship is more like J.R. Tolkien's idea in the Fellowship of the Ring. Gandalf and his diverse cohort, they shared all-consuming mission, right? They shared extraordinary, harrowing experiences. Those in turn led to a deep and meaningful fellowship. That's what fellowship means, the sharing or bond of identity, purpose, mission, and experiences. Well, behind the text of the book of Philippians stands a riveting story shared by Paul as he's writing to the Philippian Christians, what we might call, I guess we could call it the fellowship of the cross instead of the ring, or the fellowship of the gospel. They share deep love and affection and even tears. And we read of imprisonment, the threat of death, great sacrifice, opposition, boldness, all springing from the joyful reality of the gospel of Christ toward the ultimate priority of spreading the gospel of Christ throughout the world. You see, a servant and a messenger of the Philippian church, he risked his life to get resources to Paul, who was actually in a Roman prison. In Rome, not just Rome, the empire, but in Rome, in a prison. And the Philippians had on multiple occasions already supported Paul's gospel spreading missions and with funds and prayers. And while Paul is sitting in prison and writes to the Philippians, he in essence says thank you for the recent care and for the update and for everything they've done for him. And then he updates them on the servant who was about to head back with that letter in hand. So at times, you know, as I read it again and again and again, it sounds a lot like a love letter. But that's away from that theme of fellowship. So let's go back to fellowship for a second. The fellowship bond between an apostle, a church, and their messengers is practically everywhere through Philippians. They share the gospel of grace and they share in the gospel mission together. Man, that's great. A few other themes, like I said before, are worth pointing out though. Besides just the fellowship and getting together and going and telling about Jesus, the letter is unusually, for Paul, unusually warm and deeply personal. Paul shows his affection and appreciation for the saints in Philippi, and yet the Philippian letter also contains, amidst this love, amidst this thankfulness, it contains some of the most precious theology in all the Bible about Jesus' sacrifice, right there in the very second chapter. And we also see that Paul is deeply experiential as he frequently, in the text, returns to the believer's communion with Christ. It is this Christ that they all share, and that we share too. Now, 2,000 years later, their bond and their fellowship is in his gospel as our fellowship. You and me and anybody else who comes to this church, our fellowship, our bond should be in Jesus Christ, in his grace, in his mission, in his presence, in his promises, and definitely in his peace. All of this in 4 short chapters. And it's for these reasons and others that Philippians is a book of the Bible that deserves not just our routine reading just to get our Bible reading done, but really a careful study and meditation. And even before you read the book yourself, prayerfully ponder the first few verses of that great second chapter. Follow along with me here as I read them to you. If you have any encouragement from being united with Christ, if any comfort from his love, if any fellowship with the Spirit, if any tenderness and compassion, then make my joy complete by being like-minded, having the same love, being one in spirit and in purpose. And then he goes on and talks about those precise things about Christ's sacrifice. But as you do this, I have one of my favorite songs. It is based on that chapter, chapter 2. It's called The Hearts of Servants by Shane and Shane. And so as you go and as you study and as you read chapter 2 and even the whole book of Philippians, turn that song on. Take a quick listen of it, whatever streaming service you use. Hearts of Servants by Shane and Shane. So you got a week. You got a week to go read these 4 short chapters. And let us know in the comments what you think of it. Let us know what you see, what you love about Philippians,